The recent floods along the Missouri River amount to a massive yet costly "I told you so." That's the view of the 372 plaintiffs, farmers and landowners and businesses along the Missouri River in 6 states. They sued the federal government in 2014, arguing it was to blame for flood damage that amounted to a Fifth Amendment taking of their property without just compensation. I told you so not because they won, but because they warned it will happen again and again. And it has.
We're putting the boats in right here.
On a cold, windswept day near Corning, Missouri, north of St. Joe, Roger Heiduker can barely reach his farm. Some buildings still reachable only by boat. The river he loves has once again swallowed up the land he loves. Fertile soil now at the bottom of a massive lake.
Was this the worst you've ever seen it?
Oh, absolutely.
And Heiduker has seen plenty. His father settled on this ground near the Missouri River, lured here like so many others by the federal government itself and the Flood Control Act of 1944.
He had a vision that that farm someday would be of value. Why? Because he could see that the government was building levees and dams, and eventually that essentially swamp ground would be turned into productive ground.
That bet paid off. The farm grew to 2,200 acres, and Roger joined his dad. In fact, all along the mighty Mo, hundreds of other farmers and businesses joined the Heidukers, secure in the federal pledge to tame the river. A broken pledge they fume when flooding began, 2007, 2008.
And then we started to think, gosh, this is different than it has been.
Prior to 2004, flood control was #1 and navigation was #2.
Attorney Dan Boulware says that all changed when a Minnesota federal judge ruled the 8 pillars of river management authorized by Congress should be on equal footing, from flood control to endangered species. But landowners argue, in reality, the environment took priority and flood control gave way to protecting birds and fish. The federal judge punting the conflict between the Flood Control and Endangered Species Acts to Congress.
He says, I don't know which trumps the other. I don't know that. So Congress needs to decide. And guess what? Congress has never decided.
Flooding continued, each time costing farmers and communities millions. In 2014, with Heiduker Farms the lead plaintiff, 372 farmers and others affected by the flooding sued. In a trial that spanned 3 years, a federal claims court judge ruled that beginning in 2007, federal river management was to blame for 5 of 6 floods through 2013. What's more, the judge also found exactly what Boulware and his experts had predicted. Recurrent flooding in the Missouri River Basin will continue into the future.
And that's exactly what our experts said. The next overbank flooding is going to be worse. What's the flood going to be like in 2022? Is it going to wipe out Kansas City? Is downtown Kansas City going to be underwater?
Boulware doubts that, but wonders what it will take to get Congress to act. Experts warn the severity and frequency of flooding will continue to worsen. And that, Boulware argues, floods more than just farmers in a different way.
People in Kansas City are going to feel this if they're dependent upon the Midwestern economy. There are businesses in Kansas City, they're going to feel what is going to happen here.
Is there a part of you now that says, I told you so?
I think so.
Meantime, farmers like Roger Heiduker wait for a second trial next year to determine damages as much as $300 million taxpayer dollars, and for the waters to recede. Again, for now.
I don't want to give up. Most farmers don't, and we don't want to say we are, but it's getting to be pretty difficult.